Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you weren't expecting me on a Friday evening to go live, but we got a few things that we need to discuss. So let's go ahead and roll that intro, and we will get ready to dive in. Let's go. All right. So this evening, we are going to discuss how to bake the most perfect lasagna, how to make the best crust on the best pizza, how to sear the best steak, how to use lava rocks to cook your meat. All right, so if you guys see in the name of the video here, the title, it says John Crump is a rare breed, cracked it wide open. I'm not sure if a lot of you are following Ammo Land or if a lot of you have been privy to the situation going on. I know, most of you have been, but we had kind of an interesting situation going on here. Yeah, this is the Gun Bunny shirt. You are right. Shout out to Putang. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Um, I want to stay focused on the information here because this is important stuff, and it's going to be rather quick. Somebody nuke that DB. Um, it's going to be quick, so we're going to blow through the information, and then we're going to review a white paper together. And this is not going to be, bashing anyone. It's not going to be subjective. We are going to review the information that we have in front of us right now. All right. So, yeah, let's do this. Let me pull this up here. Bum. Holding a high point. Yeah. It's actually a really dope Americana GLOCK. All right. So, as you guys know, initially, Crump had released a video saying that BDU and Rare Breed had both been raided by the Alpha Tango Foxtrot boys, or as some people like to call them, the AFT. Thank you, Mr. Brandon, for that. Um, and there was a lot of controversy around that. You saw a lot of creators put out videos based on that information. And, I would say John Crump has an incredible track record of his, accuracy for his investigative journalism. And he kind of got dragged for that. And this article was just released today. So we're going to review it together. So, we'll just go ahead and review it now. So, Amaland News and I recently reported that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives went to raided Big Daddy Unlimited (BDU) and Rare Breed Triggers and seized their stock of forced reset triggers. The ATF did go to BDU, Big Daddy Unlimited, and seize their wide open trigger inventory as confirmed by BDU employees to Amaland News and independently to YouTuber Guns and Gadgets. But they did not go to Rare Breed as was initially reported. The visit by the ATF to Big Daddy came in just as Rare Breed Triggers won a preliminary injunction against Wide Open Enterprises for patent infringement, stopping the Big Daddy Enterprises subsidiary from selling its popular forced reset triggers known as the Wide Open Trigger. Rare Breed argued to the courts that Big Daddy Enterprises infringed on the patent of its FRT 15 trigger. The preliminary injunction said that only Rare Breed could produce a forced reset trigger because they were the only other company to make one. The judge was mistaken on that fact. There are other companies that produce forced reset triggers, and obviously we, all know that. So some of the background: in July of last year, 2021, the ATF served Rare Breed Triggers with a cease and desist order, ordering the company to stop selling its popular FRT-15 trigger. The company refused to comply. Hooty hoo with the ATF demands and with the ATF's demands and filed a lawsuit in federal court against the ATF. Good for you. The state tried to block Reverie Trigger's evidence by arguing that the administrative record was closed because of the lawsuit. The ATF did reopen the record twice to add videos and other things after the suit was filed. The case was dismissed after Rare Breed Triggers and the government missed a filing deadline. A judge also denied Rare Breed Trigger's initial preliminary injunction against the ATF and the DOJ. In that initial order, ATF claimed that force reset triggers are machine guns. So this is important. Going back to the original um, opinion letter, the original opinion letter stated that forced reset triggers are machine guns. That was never a question. So just for clarity, um, the definition of a machine gun is one round per action of the trigger. It says per trigger pull, but it's per action of the trigger. The ETF used its own discretion to determine that the FRT-15 is indeed a machine gun. A force reset trigger works by the bolt pushing the trigger forward, thus resetting the trigger, which would technically, by definition, make it not a machine gun. Um, this arbitrary ruling by the ATF is very similar to how the ATF determined that bump stocks were machine guns. And this is, guys, I don't want there to be any confusion. I vehemently disagree with any gun control at all, any gun rule, law, regulation, or sanction, or restriction, or whatever. I want this to be understood as me sharing information with you guys. And I'm sorry, I can't see chat right now. I'm just trying to, drop this info for you. Force reset trigger popped up on the radar when when an ATF employee, one single employee, likely with unique colored hair, working in the Washington D.C. office, noticed a YouTube video showing off a rifle with Rare Breed's FRT-15 installed firing. That employee contacted the ATF's tech branch to see if Rare Breed had obtained an opinion letter from the ATF. Um, Hold on. Rare Breed based its opinion on the legality of the trigger based on outside experts' opinions and did not um, and not an internal determination by the ATF's Firearms and Ammunition Technology Division, which, I kid you not, is literally an acronym called FAT-D. You cannot make it up. It is FAT-D. Hopefully, y'all know that. And here it states Fat D informed the ATF employee that they had not examined the trigger, but it most likely would be considered a machine gun. Months went by without further action, but the ATF employee would not be undeterred. It says he, would reach out to the local ATF field office in Florida to push for an examination of the FRT-15 trigger. This must have been some purple and blue haired, pink hat wearing crazy. The ATF's Fat D examination was further delayed by the public demand for the FRT-15 trigger. ATF could not get their hands on one to even test. The Bureau was forced to use Gunbroker to purchase two triggers to test. That's good tax-paying dollars going to work. Sources report that the ATF tested the trigger by using, get this, a zip tie to secure the trigger back. A zip tie, which is flexible, right? You're not putting a metal like hook on. I don't know why they wouldn't have someone from the Fat D just shoot it, but so they used a zip tie to secure the trigger back. The trigger continued to fire. Some in the gun community point out that plastic is flexible, so it was actually pulling the trigger multiple times. because it's a forced reset trigger. It is forced to reset, meaning that it is reset and there are multiple functions of the trigger, which would mean this isn't technically a machine gun ATF by your own definition, but let me stop. I'll continue. Sorry. Important to note, current owners of forced reset triggers are not violating the law at this time. Now, hear me out for a second. The ATF has not released any letters to the public about the legal status of owning a forced reset trigger, although there's insider speculation those letters may be forthcoming. On the same day as John Crump, on the site, on the same day as I reported on the site visits by ATF, we also received another document from an alternate source within the ATF marked law enforcement sensitive. And I'm going to share that document with you guys. Dated January 13th, 2022. The document is what the ATF will send out to either all police departments in the country or possibly owners of the FRT, but I think this is a white paper that's going to police, and I'll explain why. The ATF again calls all force reset triggers machine guns and a machine gun conversion device in the document. The document further states that force reset triggers are machine guns under federal law. The ATF once more says that the shooter does not need to release the trigger to fire another round, which is not true, but it's okay. um, After the first round is fired. The Bureau says the firearm will automatically cycle. The ATF document reads FRTs are generally marketed as replacement triggers for AR type or other semi automatic firearms. Unlike traditional triggers and binary triggers, sometimes also referred to as FRTs, the subject FRTs do not require shooters to pull and then subsequently release the trigger to fire a second projectile. Instead, these FRTs utilize the automatic firing cycle inherent in the trigger design to eliminate the need for the shooter to release the trigger before a second round may be fired. God, this is so frustrating, but I'm delivering y'all the info. All right. Oh, okay. The document gives two examples with photos of the triggers that the ATF is telling law enforcement are machine guns. The first trigger image is of the rare breed FRT 15 trigger, aka the fart bird. The second example trigger is the competing wide open trigger sold by Big Daddy Unlimited. Note the document is dated the exact date the ATF showed up to Big Daddy Unlimited. Hmm, interesting. Who also said they didn't get rated and then said they did. And AMLN News correspondence with Rare Breed owner Kevin Maxwell. So this is not Lawrence DeMonico. This is the actual owner of Rare Breed, Kevin Maxwell. He stated, him and John Crump got on the phone together. He stated the company sent a letter to the ATF to add its evidence to the administrative record on November 2nd, 2021, since the lawsuit was dismissed. The ATF responded on the 15th of 2021 of November that it received Rare Breed's request. Rare Breed Triggers requested an update on December 12th, 2021. The ATF did not even respond. Maxwell believes the newly revealed document apparently being sent to law enforcement will be the only response that Rare Breed Triggers will receive, and I likely agree with that. The company is preparing to file an additional lawsuit against the ATF. A new lawsuit against the ATF is being prepared, this is in quotes, and will be filed shortly. Rare Breed Triggers is not backing down. Good, Maxwell told MLN News. We feel the ATF is overreaching its legal authority, which they always do daily, by its intentional misclassification of the FRT 15. AMLN News would like to repeat that mistakes were made in the initial reporting and Rare Breed had no visits by the ATF. We will provide additional updates as the story develops. You guys got to understand too that this is a developing situation. Obviously, things are going to continuously change. But let me show you all this white paper. Um, this is kind of what I see as scary. And when I say scary, I don't mean like ooh scary. I mean, it's terrifying that we can actually sit here and look at an organization that is using your money from your paychecks, from your businesses, from your all you guys are paying them, so am I, we all are, and well, most of us are. I mean, depends. Um, they're taking your money and then they are literally writing opinion letters to determine law, completely circumventing legislation and encroaching on your rights. The fact that they can just say, "Whoa, hey, this is a machine gun. Write up a letter, send it out. That's a machine gun. That's it." Under 18 USC, that's a felony. You can go to jail right now, today. Like, what? D- shouldn't this take an act of Congress? No, it should not take an act of Congress. It should not take legislation. You know what it should take? The ATF writing up a letter of opinion from one agent, Mr. Agent Smith, which is interesting because sometimes life is like the Matrix. Um, one agent doing a test with a zip tie because he couldn't, and there's been some other information that came out about the test. He couldn't personally get the firearm to fire more than one shot with one action of the trigger. So they fastened it with a zip tie, likely loosely, basically bump firing an FRT-15, which it's going to dump a whole magazine. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track. Let me show you all this white paper real quick. Neener, 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 neener. All right, so here we go. Hold up. Okay, double check the view of this. All right, I'll put me little at the bottom because I'm nobody. I don't matter. Yeah, yeah. The Fat D agent that did the test, yes, Fat D was literally in the document as Agent Smith. Hilarious, I know. So here's the deal. This is the document that is going out to likely every single law enforcement agency in the United States. Um, and it says at the very top, unclassified law enforcement sensitive tax information. So, meaning that this is only unclassified for law enforcement, um, meaning that I likely shouldn't have this. Not for release outside ATF. ATF Firearms and Ammunition Technology Division, Fat D, Technical Bulletin 2201. Okay, they just wrote this up on the 13th. So January 13th, it says force reset triggers. This document classified law enforcement sensitive. The fact, let me back up a little bit. Sorry. The fact that this says that it is law enforcement sensitive um, means that it's going to get released to law enforcement so they can then in the field make determination if they do traffic stops, if they do, if they kick down doors, if they come across firearms that have a force reset trigger inside an AR-15. I guess they're going to go punching lowers and shotgunning uppers to look to see if there are force reset triggers inside of ARs. Um, I don't know if they're actually going to enforce it or not. I don't know, but I will say this does not look like a, a letter or a notice that would go to a civilian that says, "Hey, we know you bought this trigger on this date. Destroy it, get rid of it, blow it up, turn it in, whatever." Um, okay, so I'm just gonna hit the highlighted parts. This document is attached to the excuse me, Amaland article. So if you guys want to go read it. Precautions should be taken to ensure this information is stored and or destroyed in a manner that precludes unauthorized access, may not be used in legal proceedings, could result in civil and or criminal liability. Um, identifying certain machine gun conversion devices commonly referred to as forced reset triggers right here. Um, FRTs eliminate the need to release the trigger to fire a subsequent shot, which is dog shit. I mean, it's horseshit. It's whatever. It's garbage. And therefore, such a device is properly classified as a machine gun under federal law. They go over background stuff and um, generally marketed as replacement triggers, utilize the automatic firing cycle. This is some of the stuff we hit on from the article. Um, with one single continuous pull of the trigger, which you guys know, if you've spent any time looking into this, watching videos, watching slow mo videos, I mean, it is essentially a very creative way to bump fire the the rifle. It's I mean, it's more complicated than that, but you guys get what I'm saying. The trigger is still resetting. I mean, it's in the name, forced reset trigger. So here's where it gets dangerous. Okay. Um, speaking of danger, there is an added danger to both the shooter as well as any unintended targets. Two examples of FRTs. Boom, rare breed, force reset trigger. Boom, wide open trigger. So they are sticking with their opinion letter that these are indeed, that's cute, arrow to the um, little area where traditionally a sear would be on a machine gun, meaning that if that is in place of where a sear would be on a machine gun, that it couldn't technically be a machine gun. And because when the bolt reciprocates, it resets the trigger, that the trigger resetting would mean that by definition, written by the ATF, that it's not a machine gun. But here they are with an opinion letter saying that anybody with a force reset trigger can do federal jail time and pay up to $250,000 in fines because of feelings and opinions. So they have the FRT 15 here and the wide open trigger. They show a picture of what it looks like dropped into a lower receiver, and this is an explanation of how it all works and what it looks like and all that. And you guys can expect this white paper to be. Let me say it differently. It is highly likely that that white paper will be circulated amongst all law enforcement um, within the coming weeks. And a lot of people say, like, well, these companies, they shouldn't be, like um, storing the data, like their client data, their information. It's not right. Like that's privacy. Da, 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 da. But that's not even how they do it. Like the way that the ATF goes about getting information, if a company will not play ball, if a company will not play ball and give up the information, they just go to the credit card processing company. They just go to stamps.com. They get all the information that they need just by going to the resources that a company needs to use to operate, right? And Matt with CRS Firearms put out a great video about this and said that they even do things like tracking mail from addresses, like finding rare breeds address and then tracking packages based on dimensions and size and weight and all that stuff. And I'm not sure if they do that or not, but yeah, shipping companies too. But the same thing happened with the auto key Cardi. What happened is there was no information, no client information or customer information for them to take. So what they did is they went to authorize.net and stamps.com and took everything. And every single person that ordered, well, it has been said that every single person that ordered one of those auto uh, cases got a letter, but it's a possibility that maybe not every person that ordered one got a letter. So yeah, they tracked the mail. They got very. I mean, it's the ATF. They have unlimited funds and resources, and they can very easily look at merchant services, credit card companies, and shipping services, stamps.com, UPS, FedEx, whatever a company is using. So, in summation, what I'll say is that number one, this is horseshit. Um, it is clear that these triggers are not machine guns, and it may have been said that the opinion letter was written before the test was done. I don't know that for certain, but I don't put it past them at all. So, in looking at this, from the jump, they knew that they were going to come out with an opinion letter that said that these triggers were machine guns, and now they're going to do whatever they can to F people by use of law enforcement, unfortunately. Um, So if an individual did, so I haven't, I've got a bunch of binary triggers. I don't have any force reset triggers. If an individual did purchase force reset triggers, it would be in their best opinion. Uh, um, it would be best for an individual to prepare for something to happen in the future because the ATF is classifying the unit as a machine gun, just as they would a drop-in auto sear, just as they would a lightning link, just as they would anything else. The unit is a machine gun. If you uninstall it and put it in your safe, like some popular YouTubers have said, it doesn't change that the ATF, are classifying as a machine gun. Is it wrong? Yes. Is it ridiculous? Yes. Is it unconstitutional? Yes. Should they be slapped in the face for even thinking that they can legislate or literally go around an act of Congress to just say that this is a machine gun and put people in jail potentially for this shit? Is it wrong? Absolutely. Unconstitutional, should be illegal. It's treasonous, but I'm just giving the information. So for all the people that dragged Crump, um, I think that's bullshit. I think that he reported what he believed was good information. I think this vindicates Crump, and I think that he has a remarkable track record of accuracy. And this just shows that his information was mostly correct. But in dealing with any type of investigative journalism that he does, there's always going to be a risk that something isn't correct. But I got to say, I'm glad that it wasn't the ATF trying to smoke out a rat or rats. I'm glad that it wasn't a honeypot to, you know, destroy his credibility and reputation. I'm just, I'm glad that it worked out like this, even though it sucks. Okay, so now that I have not looked at chat for almost a half an hour, let me just go through real quick. I got to be honest, I feel super bad that like I'm streaming while Ralph is streaming, while P80 Ralph is streaming, and I'm streaming while 2AE EDU is streaming, and I feel super guilty, and I don't want to, get in their way. So let me take a look. Okay, I don't want to go to the federal F and the A person. And then my wife divorced me, just saying, yeah, no, it's crazy. What's up, Tactical Pineapple? You can sign up at USPS and see your incoming mail. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. All that stuff is available. I mean, we are literally in the day and age of information where if any of those fools go anywhere and say, I'm with the ATF, I need this information, Dunzo. Um, and then I'll go back to, okay, so if the ATF is going to send out this document to every single, I'm just saying if, to every single law enforcement organization in the United States saying that these triggers are deemed machine guns and that these officers are supposed to act accordingly in the field and arrest somebody for a felony of which they can receive up to 10 years in prison and $250,000 in fines for a trigger that resets that. Oh man, it drives me crazy. It would be important to know what to do. And I would say what I would do if I ordered a forced reset trigger or forced reset triggers and there was a paper trail showing that I did that. It would be wise to, if you did get a knock on the door, either number one, don't say anything, don't say a word, and just say attorney, right? Um, if you do lie, if you openly lie and are dishonest, and you say, "Nope, wasn't me. That credit card was stolen," or whatever, they will come back and they will kick down your door, and they will. Y'all already know. Y'all already know. So just be smart, man. Prepare if something like that is going to happen. We don't need to get into that much deep detail about that stuff, but um, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can say that the ATF is already at war with force reset triggers, and they're going to, at least at this point, have law enforcement acting accordingly. And it's likely in the future that they will act accordingly as well, meaning that they would potentially do door knocks and visits and potentially raids. So prepare for that. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, don't lie. Just say lawyer, 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 and then do really hilarious gestures that upset all of them. Um, no, honestly, be be kind, right? Be kind. Um, yeah, no, fuck that. Don't be kind. Even though that's what I say literally every single day. Be kind. This is your one shot. If you had one shot, would you take it or let it slip? Need $1 million sent to the ATF with tags saying to fuck. Oh man, that would be beautiful. I don't think he renewed his SOT after the issue with the key cards. And Justin, that's another thing that he did not. That was beyond obvious not to get into. What are we talking about? CRS or zip tie is a machine gun now? Um, hell yeah, BK. No, so CRS still has CRS. It works at a family um, SOT, so it's not like just his. You know, you got it, John Rice. All right, I just wanted to give this information to you guys. I think we really need to show Crump some love, man, because going through and reading all this, like all of this information, every quote, every document, everything, like he has put so much into this because he was dragged over this and he wasn't even truly wrong. He had mostly accurate information and there was one piece that was confused. That's it. So um, I encourage all you guys to keep doing what I always tell you to do. Be safe, be dangerous, and be kind. And yeah, Crump is solid, man. He's the dude. Hashtag team Crump all day. So again, I don't want to encroach on PD Ralph's stream or 2AEDU's stream, so I'm gonna bounce. I just wanted to get this information out to you guys. There's we still has LLC has the SOT, but after the Florida shit, I'm backing away. That's right. He's just personally backing away from the shop. Feels a risk for me in the shop being there. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. You do have a lot of attention on you. And I mean, yeah, I don't blame you at all. I support you, brother. So that's it. Love you guys. Make sure you go show Crump some love. Hit him up. All this information came from John Crump Live and John Crump News. If you do not subscribe to John Crump Live or John Crump News, what are you thinking? Go there right now. Sub to him. He's the man. That's where all this information came from. And this was a correction to previous information that came out. So for every, he's right here. What do you mean? Where's he at? Crump is in here? I don't see Crump. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I love CRS. And CRS, I thought your video was excellent. I thought you did a great job. So keep up the good work. I love y'all. Be easy. Take care. Peace.